The music must be too loud or something. I don't know.
Ladies and
There
gentlemen,
we
we
go.
are back. It's a live podcast. Thursday night, Meade County. It's me, Steve, and you got Mark.
How you all doing?
We are back in action, and we are ready to
Loving it.
cut into the mustard. And here we are. We're not going to cut the mustard, but we are going to cut into the mustard because there's a lot of things to talk about that happened this week. Mark, take off.
Steve, it's been a busy week, both politically and just in business and personal and everything. So just to kind of let everybody know what's gone on. One, we finally have a new Speaker of the House in the U.S. Congress, in the House of Representatives. We are, we have Michael Johnson. Mike Johnson, I think. Is it Johnson? I think it is. Yeah, Mike Johnson.
Yeah, Mike Johnson.
It really just for a second there I lost my my train of thought. But Mike Johnson, and if you get a chance to listen to his first speech to the House of Representatives as the Speaker, I really liked what he had to say. He spoke to both sides, but he spoke firmly on conservative beliefs and conservative values. But he spoke about how do we get together, start coming back together as a unit speaking of the House of Representatives, so that they can actually get work done, get things done for the people, and stop holding the House hostage, whether that's Republicans holding the Republican majority hostage or the Democrats holding the Republican majority hostage, and somewhat vice versa.
Let me play a little
there
clip.
has to be. Go ahead. Let's play.
Thank you all.
Listen to this.
First, a few words of gratitude. I want to thank Leader Jeffries. I do look forward to working with you on behalf of the American
By the way,
people.
this is coming
I know
from
we see things
YouTube.
from very different points
Obviously,
of view,
Forbes was
but
the
I know
one
that in your heart
featuring
you love
this
and
on
care about this country and
YouTube.
you wanna
So
do what's
all
right.
credit
So
goes to
we're
them
gonna
for
find
all the
common ground
Facebook.
there.
This is not a product of the Meade Truth, but it's a quick playback. You can find it on YouTube if you look up Speaker of the House opening statement. I've got it right there on the screen for you.
Yeah.
And you can watch the whole thing. So
I believe Forbes is the one. Forbes posted it. Face the Nation posted it.
I want to express
But
my
it's. I
great
think it's
thanks
coming from
for
C-SPAN's
our Speaker Emeritus,
link.
Kevin McCarthy.
little head nod there.
And the selfless sacrifice that you and Judy have made for so many years. You helped build it, Kevin, and we owe you a great debt of gratitude. I want to thank the dedicated and overworked staff of this beleaguered House.
Yeah, I mean, they think about all the work they have to do, trying to prepare for the votes and how many votes they've had to have and things. And this is, I think it's well deserved for them to
They
thank
accept
the
praise
staff.
so stoically, but Miss
They
Susan
accept praise so
Cole, our House
stoically.
reading clerk, and yes.
He's funny. I mean, he's got a sense of humor.
Yeah. So I was just reading through some of the comments. I mean, obviously, you guys got to go watch this. We can't make our whole show about the speech. It's 18 minutes long. It's worth the time. So right after you're done watching us, you should just go watch it. But there's a lot of folks that were really, after watching it, they were quite impressed about the little unknown character that's now always trying to steal limelight in the local or in the media news. For a conservative, he seems to have quite a lot of the values that we talk about, and when we're looking in our governor race.
Absolutely, and and we saw a lot of that in the debates, and we had the final debate last night, and Daniel Cameron really shined in that debate. He really his values were his Republican, his conservative values, his Christian values were on display. He stands firmly behind his Christian beliefs, and that's molded him to be the man that he is. And I'm very proud of him for continuing to stand up and for those values, because those are values that I share too. Mm-hmm. I know that there's a lot of people who don't. There's a lot of people who don't. Who don't share those same values.
Sure.
And they want to see something else, somebody else or what have you. But in reality, it's just a matter of, for us, it's like we've got to protect life first.
Sure.
And then, but now we have to go after you. You have to go battle these people who are attacking life, and that's whether it's life of the unborn or life of a young woman who's being, who's getting her life turned upside down because of rape and things.
Right.
You have to. We need stronger laws and stronger law enforcement and stronger punishment for those men for those people, those men who aren't afraid to attack women, especially young women, the most vulnerable, and get them off the streets. This is this is not like, we're not talking about the boy and the girl in high school that he's a little bit older, she's a little bit younger, but they both have a little bit of it's just a matter of statutory and where they get caught up in it. And that's a lot of times these laws have been lessened because they didn't want to ruin lives. But there's some people we have to be able to differentiate between those different things. And I'm just saying that in this case, where a young woman, 12 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, whatever all those ads say, that man should go to jail for the rest of his life.
Absolutely, with
right?
a castration and process.
Well,
I don't know about all that,
I know. I'm not going to. I'm not in for deforming people and things like that over it. If you're going to go that far, then they, maybe.
No, I got it. It would be bad because I take it back. But I mean, how can you hurt somebody, right? And especially in that manner, and take something from them that wasn't never theirs, right? And then how do you make them suffer the rest of their lives until God can pass judgment on them?
Yeah.
So that they, one, don't do it again, and two, so that they can't be a menace to society again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I mean, we have to be able to pull.
It's the natural tendency for humans.
You got to pull those people out of out of society, separate them, and that's what jails are for.
Yeah.
Now, we can go down the trail of understanding that that jail may have been overly used in some instances and things over the time. But that's another debate. But this is one. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I said, speaking of getting jails full, we had our jail full this week, didn't we, Mark?
We absolutely did.
Yeah, I got a little clip. If you didn't hear about it,
so let me set this up real quick. Yeah, let me set this up a little bit. So there was a couple that came in. It's gone all over YouTube and things. But there's a couple came in. Now they said they came in looking for information about his case in Hardin County. And he was needing to show that he was jailed in Meade County back in 1998, I think it is, and it's in the video. And at first, everything's nice and cordial. He comes in, goes to the clerk's, not the county clerk, but the circuit court clerk's office, and the lady there, they're filming the whole way in, and the lady is helping them. Nobody said anything about them filming or anything, and the lady is helping them. Well, they're there for quite a while. There's other people who are coming in to do business. As a matter of fact, I noticed that there was one gentleman that was there that came in. They filmed him actually doing his business and things, and he's talking about the fines he has to pay, and I'm sure he doesn't want that out on the internet.
No,
but he didn't say anything. And so after a little while, they were wanting her to. They wanted her to. They wanted her to do a. They wanted her to explain the files to him, so he knows what it means. But they can't do that. They're not lawyers.
No, they're not.
He's supposed to pick up the files, right? Get his copies.
That's right.
And then take them to his attorney.
There's a sign there that says we cannot provide any legal advice.
Exactly. And he's like, what he's asking them to do is to interpret what's on there legally.
They can't do that.
They can't do that. And so then somebody, I don't know, in the back, I don't know why she did it or whatever. Somebody came up from out of the back and said, "Hey, you need to go stop. You need to just walk away from this because you don't need to be doing this." And he was like, "Why?" He was like, "Why?" And she's been helping me. why? And so they were going to make the copies. They were making his copies and such, but they're not supposed to sit there and explain it.
That's right.
And so then he started getting, he didn't get loud yet, but he kind of was he was being stern and firm, because he thinks that they should have to do this.
He's entitled.
And I haven't, like I said, nobody's ever explained why the woman came up, why the other clerk. It wasn't the main clerk. It was one of the other ladies in the office came up and said, I don't know, maybe she's the office manager or something. I don't know who she was. And told her, that she needed to just walk away from him. And for whatever reason. So that kind of set a path in motion, right? That of now he's holding firm that they need to be doing this. Well, eventually, they're sitting out here talking about this, and again, they're not getting super loud or anything, but they're being firm, and basically talking down about things, about the situation, like they were being at one point they talk about they think Hardin County called the Meade County and kept them from getting this information. I mean, that means that's a persecution.
Well, I got it.
That's a persecution that's a sign of something that
Yeah, I got a clip where it's got their voice. Let's hear what it says. Hold on a second. See if we can get their voice.
Yeah, the video is awful.
All right, here we go.
I am Chris Ryder. I've called here several times, and I have court tomorrow, and they're trying to use records from here, from 1999 case. That was me here in 1999, in which I went to jail here. Okay. So I've gotten some of those records, some of your all's records, and we need to A, do some comparing, what I've got to what you've got, and B, I've got a lot of questions about what's here. Okay. So I might be a few minutes, and I don't mean to give you any trouble, but I gotta do this.
Okay.
So can you pull my original file that you have so that we can compare what I have to what you have?
It was a 99 file.
99, and then it's Christopher Ryder, R-E-I-T-E-R.
Okay.
He's got YouTube cameras all over him, right?
Oh yeah, they've got GoPros. They're holding up. But if you look at their YouTube channel and stuff, this is what they do. They're going from courthouse to courthouse in this area, trying to find.
That's crazy.
Trying to find problems, but they're creating problems in doing so. They're not just coming in and getting records.
Me, so sorry.
I just need to pay a fine.
And so right there, I mean, this. Go ahead and fast forward a little bit. We don't need to get into other people's business and stuff. So,
this looks like where she got kicked out. Hold on.
She just walked out. She was cordial. She left so that she wouldn't accidentally record him.
Got it.
Why?
But she already got him.
Can I get a copy of those, please? I'll pay for it. Yeah, and don't let them get out of everybody's sight. I want to be able to watch.
You see, he's
after that.
Sorry, I was trying to stay out, and then I realized
Don't trust your government.
that this is why you
Yeah,
record everything.
Keep an eye on it.
You see right there?
Yeah.
He wanted to get copies, but he automatically thinks that they're going to go back there and do something.
Yeah, not our folks. Our folks are fine. I mean, they're kind and friendly. Look, she's even trying to. Oh, we're gonna.
I don't know if this. I can't see the screen over there, but it's
You've got 3,000. First of all, you got like 3 million cases files in the circuit court. It's not like they know this case from 1999 that they're going to accidentally remove a document. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but you do identify to the public when they ask, right? In this office.
Okay, so the lady's already come by, and we kind of talked over, but the lady came by and told her that she needed to kind of walk away and
Do you want to
finish him
identify
up.
who you are when you're talking to the public?
No, I'm only talking to you, dude. What the
That's
heck?
a no for that one.
I don't think that they have to. I don't think they have
No,
to.
they don't have to identify who they are. Their privacy is protected. The information within there
Hey,
is
pause
not.
that for a second. Pause
All
that for
right,
a
go
second.
ahead.
So one thing that got me is he says, "Hey, I pay. We pay for this building." I'm like, They're from Indiana.
No, you don't pay for this building.
You didn't pay for that building.
Oh, you pay. You paid for the fines in the county that helped fund the county for what you did wrong in '99.
I mean, the thing is most likely he cost more money to the county than he paid in because they had the jailing.
I know it. So
and
here,
the housing. So
here comes the law. Here in just a second.
People
So,
wonder why
Yeah.
we do the recordings.
now here they come. They're coming up. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's a turn.
now, how far into is this?
Been better.
This
I've
is
been
at
better too.
14 minutes into a 37-minute video.
The clerk's office that needs to help me with this stuff. I think they're the ones that called you because some woman just came up and told my clerk to not help me anymore with my records, the business I'm here for. That's what just happened. So I told her I want to know who she is.
We would like to know who
And-
she is so we can file a formal complaint.
No,
Yes,
they want to
absolutely.
be able to put her name and dox her out on Facebook or out on YouTube is what they want to do.
Hold on, he's.
Y'all got cameras all over everybody.
Well, that's something. Hey, look, man, there's one
Now,
right there.
pause that again.
And we
Go,
record
take that back a
all
little
of
bit
our
because I did
business.
talk over it and I want to hear that. I want people to hear
What
that.
can we help you with?
Well, it was at the clerk's office that needs to help me with this stuff. I think they're the ones that called you because some woman just came up and told my clerk to not help me anymore with my record,
Yeah.
the business I'm here for.
Okay.
That's what just happened. So I told her I want to know who she is.
We would like to know who
And-
she is so we can file a formal complaint.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So the reason why they don't want to help you
pause.
is because y'all got cameras all over.
All right, pause that real quick. So right there is the only time that anybody ever says anything about cameras, and he says probably because.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
I don't-
intimidated by the cameras.
they don't want that. That may make people uncomfortable, but
That's not why they got arrested.
that's not why they got arrested. So, and that's not why the police were called down there necessarily. I think they were afraid of what was going on in front of them.
Well, I
and
think it made them uncomfortable, and they didn't know how to react to the situation.
exactly. So they called the police down.
Yeah.
Now, here's the
Sheriff.
thing: or the sheriff's department, and then so Chief Deputy White came down, and you see it's still fairly cordial at this point. So let's go on and see where it goes.
All right.
Hey, look, man, there's one right there. See it?
And we record all of our business because we have to keep everyone accountable. And that's how we do that, is by recording everything.
Now, see right there, she says they hold people accountable, but they're trying to get these things. They have court cases everywhere.
They're making copies of our documents.
There's no order from a judge saying I can't record.
We're allowed to record our
So what's
business
your
that we're
name? I'm sorry.
conducting.
I'm Chief Deputy Whited.
Nice to meet you,
Sheriff's
sir.
office.
Nice to meet you.
But if you start making them feel uncomfortable and stuff, I can tell you to leave.
Well, hold on, sir.
A
And
camera
before
shouldn't make
you
it.
leave, I'll arrest you for disorderly
Okay.
conduct.
You already threatened me with arrest?
Oh, no, I'm not threatening you. Trust me.
Well, why did you just say
That's not a
that?
threat. I don't make threats.
Let me go.
Get,
What is it?
you get
promise?
your copies, and then.
No, I don't have, no, I need more than copies. I'm waiting on them and let them tell you the truth.
No, wait a minute. You got to hear
I'm
that
not
part
going
right there.
anywhere.
Oh, yes, y'all.
Oh, no.
Blank.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because he thinks, he right there said that they need to explain it to me. And that's not what they're supposed to do.
We're allowed to
Now,
record our
so
business.
This is
Go back. I'm replaying it, Mark. Hold on.
Nice to meet you,
Sheriff's
sir.
office.
Nice to meet you.
But if you start making them feel uncomfortable and stuff, I can tell you to leave.
Well, hold on, sir.
A
And
camera
before
shouldn't make
you
it.
leave, I'll arrest you for disorderly
Okay.
conduct.
So he said, it's not a threat. He said, once you get what you need, I'm going to ask you to leave. But if you're not going to leave, then I would arrest you for disorderly conduct if you continue in this manner. And he basically, you have a choice. Get what you need. Conduct your business professionally and you'll be fine. He gets riled up because he even made the threat of it, but it's not wrong to communicate that there's limitations to how long your behavior can be tolerated in a public place.
Here's the thing. I would say that the Chief Deputy Whited was, he could have handled this differently.
Could have.
He could have simply said, listen, would you do me a favor? Just get your copies, get them and take them, and then go ahead and, if you don't mind getting your copies and go ahead and leaving because, it is making these people feel uncomfortable. And,
Or simple
and the way
folks.
this is, and we're not trying to, make it a big deal or whatever, but, but he did go, when he did say, well, I'll arrest you. Well, he's playing right into what these people want.
I know. Yeah.
And
Let's watch it play
he's like,
out.
I don't care, but
Let's watch it
yeah.
play out.
It's very, very long, but
Oh, no, I'm not threatening you. Trust me.
Well, why did you just say
That's
that?
not threat.
Let
I don't
me-
make threats.
Let me go. What is it?
You get your
promise?
copies, and then.
No, I don't have, no, I need more than copies. I'm waiting on Ellen, let them tell you the
Get
truth.
your copies and y'all can go.
I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, yes, y'all.
Oh, no, I won't.
One way or another.
I will
We're not
I'm
gonna leave
leaving
until
I
we're
get my
done
record.
conducting our business,
You
sir.
get your copies,
Who are you
whatever you
again?
want. I'm Chief Deputy Waddy with the Sheriff's Office.
Deputy, and
And-
you don't
Yes.
know to treat the public
Trust me,
better
I
than
do.
this? What are you doing this for? This is my record. I got court tomorrow.
You get your
And he's
copies.
saying
You
get your
want
copies.
You get your copies.
I don't
and then
just
y'all
need
can leave.
copies. If you knew what was going
You're not
on,
gonna keep these ladies up there.
I'm
and
not
let
keeping them
feel
up there
unsafe.
doing nothing except for their job.
A camera
you don't
should-
know- you
a
know
camera-
their
You know
job?
their job, yes. This
You
is
get-
what I'm
what is
sent
their
for
job?
from Frankfurt.
What is the job of the circuit court clerk?
To go over these records with me.
No.
To explain them.
To explain them to you?
She
Yes,
handles
sir.
the
No,
records. She
it's
handles
your lawyer's
documents.
job.
Copies, she does
Look up,
filing.
Show me
check the
that.
open records access for him.
Show me
Or
that.
just tell him the statute. You look it up.
Show me that.
You look it up.
No,
You tell him the
show me.
statute to open
I
records.
didn't
Tell
show
him,
me.
tell him the number.
Show me. You know her job.
Open records,
better
I do
than
believe
do.
it's
Show me.
KRS
I know this is the
96
clerk's
dot
office, and
something.
these are clerk's records.
And it's
this
not-
has questionable,
So what
let
is
me
her
talk.
job?
This has questionable stuff.
What is her job?
To
You
tell
still
me what
haven't
this
answered
is
my
about.
question.
So-
Just to provide you documents. Go ahead, Mark.
It's just to provide the documents. So this goes on and on and on until he finally gets arrested, and then you see it go blank, but that audio goes on for a long time. And I really don't even want to promote anybody going to their website because I'm afraid that what we're talking about here is people are, they're trying to set the police departments up. Now he played right into their hand. Now he's been arrested. Now, now they've got follow-up videos every day on this, and it's like, it's so funny because they talk about, the next day they have a video. There's a follow-up video where they're saying, "Oh, she needs to go to the hospital," but they didn't take her to the hospital,
How are you?
What do you need to
and she's.
There it goes.
Wait, watch the language. There's language involved here. Sorry about that, everybody.
What are you talking
What is
about?
the
How
job
is
of the
it
circuit
our
court
job
clerk?
to tell you
Because
what
you
their
said-
job is?
You said,
If you touch me, you're going to be in a pickle. Do not touch me.
You're going to be in a pickle.
I wouldn't laugh. Don't touch me.
Hey,
You just messed
you want
up.
to go, Tim? You
Do I
want
want
to
to
go,
go?
Tim?
I would not do that if I were you.
What do you want to do?
Don't.
Well, and there you have it. So this thing goes viral, right? I talked to Judge Koch about this the other day. He says, "Have you seen this yet?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Their phones are blowing up." It not only did it go viral. Well, this is the sad part.
That
This
has
is,
nothing to do
I
with the
know.
judge executive.
No, it doesn't. But it happened in the one of the county's buildings. The bottom line is every city office or every county office in the building is getting phone calls from all over the nation as a
Yeah.
result of this entity that came here and did this. This is the same thing that happened in our state when we wanted to place our values, Kentucky values, on our laws of our state, and then everybody from outside of the state decided, well, we don't like what you're doing
Yeah.
in Kentucky, and then funneled money in here
Yeah.
and people to influence our own laws.
You heard? I mean, did you read the Messenger this week?
I did.
So did you read the article on this?
Yes.
And so I think that she did not. I don't agree wholeheartedly with her assessment of the situation where these people were just abused. I think that you have to take into account that there's two sides of this thing. These people came in there. It seems like they came in there with a legitimate reason. Mm-hmm. They came in asking for their documents and they wanted to record. They want to record because they're always afraid of the conspiracy. Well, in their minds, everything is based on a conspiracy now, no matter what happens. Not that people are uncomfortable, not that people are just trying to go through their day-to-day job, but the fact that, well, everybody must be against me, right? That's the attitude that you hear in what they say. Now, I don't know these people. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Right.
I'm not sitting with these people, and I'm not their therapist of any type, but when I hear that, I'm like, they are, you can hear that in their voice that everybody must be against me. That's why I'm in this situation, because everybody's against me. And I mean, because if you go on and listen to it, and I don't really want to give it out to you guys because, it is what it is. I'm sure you can find it on your own. I'm not going to promote it, but he has some case out in Hardin County. And it's hard to tell. Sometimes it's like he had to be out there get something dismissed, and another thing, he was out there because he's laying a lawsuit on him, and it's like, I don't know what it is. And then it becomes it's actually the Kentucky State Police post number 4 out there, and now and if you look, there's a follow-up video where he says, hey,
right,
KSP post 4, they got me and they're out to get me. They're trying to get my records to look at this, to subpoena my records so they can look at my video and get on my phone. I'm like, well, I mean, it's like, there's a lot more to this, because now they have to understand, because now you've been arrested here, right? Mm-hmm. You're telling everybody in the world that there's a complaint.
I'll bet he missed his court date the next day.
No, he didn't. He actually was let out to go to the court. The judge out there in Hardin County treated him well. Mm-hmm. He even acknowledges that. Mm-hmm. He didn't dismiss the case because he didn't have the records. Right. But he would have got the records if he just would have taken them. Mm-hmm. And because Chief Deputy White had said, hey, if she'll make the copies, you can take the copies, but we want you to, when you get the copies, we want you to leave.
Yeah, you're pushing your boundaries.
Yeah, and her job is not to explain those records to you. That is not part of her job purview. She is not a lawyer.
That's right. They have a sign up there, I think anywhere in the courthouse, whether you're over at the clerk's office or the courthouse. And they usually have these signs up, and it says, we cannot provide you any legal advice. Right. That's it, period. And that's a blanket statement.
They're record keepers.
That's it. They keep
They're
records.
Record keepers.
This is the record you asked for. This is the record I pulled. Here's the copy of it. This is a docket. This is a divorce decree. This is a judgment. This is a supporting document. That's about the limitation of what they can say.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't tell you what is in it. I don't know what they determined.
I don't know what goes through these people's minds. I mean, I grew up very, very poor. Mm-hmm. And and when you grow up poor, you kind of have that feeling of like, hey, maybe the world's against me. Right. But when eventually you find out it's more of the world just doesn't even know who you are. And it's like it's not that the world is doing anything to you or working against you. It's just that you're not working for yourself. And if you work for yourself and you make a respectable name for yourself, and you meet good people and you hang with good people, you're going to end up making you can make your life different. But this is like, and I don't know these people at all, but what it looks like to me is like they have this feeling that everybody's against them. It's a conspiracy against me, and it's like, that's just not true. It's not. Right. People, you need to prove that somebody in that courthouse got a call from Hardin County as you stepped in mm-hmm. to say, hey, you need to keep these people from getting these records. Well, you can't do that. It's illegal to keep people from getting records lawfully. He can simply go into it's his court case. He can ask for them, and he can get copies of them as long as he's willing to pay for the copies.
You can also get them online.
But he actually wanted, what he said is he actually wanted the originals. He didn't want a copy.
Well, you're not going to get originals.
No.
You get the copies from the original.
Yes, you have to take a copy of the original. That's all you can do.
Yeah,
you're not going to get the wet sign.
You're not going to get the wet sign document from the judge. Sorry.
No, you're not.
You don't even leave the court. You don't even leave the court the same day with the wet signed copy. And that goes in the record.
No, absolutely not. But the thing is, his lawyer probably still has a copy in his records.
Yes, he
could go. He should be able to go back to his lawyer and get that copy.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
or
all
his
of this,
new lawyer
spent way too much time.
I got it. But big news in Meade County.
Yeah.
I mean, evidently, it took a full page in the Meade Messenger.
That was her opinion piece that went the full page.
Yeah. I think even our opinion is it could have been handled differently. But
I think so. I think that the if I was grading this out like on some of those YouTube channels that do that, I think that Chief Deputy White probably got a C minus, right? A C or C minus, because he could have talked that through and de-escalated that better.
Absolutely.
He did go in. I think he did try. He went in with the intent of talking it through it, but when you're faced with that type of mentality. Like that, when you're faced with that conspiracy theorist, and he's spouting things to you that you're against him you're while you're there, it starts it could eat at you, and and no matter how professional you try to be, sometimes you just.
So the one thing I've learned in these situations is the number one thing, and the only thing that you can do is actually listen. When he moved away from where he was assisting and shaking the hand, and then he moved a step closer to him and then crossed his hands like this and started doing this and had
he
his
was
hands
no longer listening.
He was no longer listening, and when he started doing that, what's her job? That you begin challenging, and once that takes place, that's where I think you lose the ground.
And at that point, it was all over.
Because he had his agreement, he shook his hand, and he probably could have catered that all the way out the door and been, did you get everything you needed, sir? Yes, I did. Well, I'm glad that we could be of assistance.
Good.
Thank you for stopping.
And he could have just stayed there and watched over the situation. Listen, I'm just going to be here because they don't feel comfortable right now, and I'm just going to make sure that that nothing goes wrong, and I'm just here as
hindsight's 2020. Yeah, hindsight's 2020. But at the end of the day, it went south, and
they got arrested. I think overall, my opinion is it's a lawful arrest over everything that happened. But at the same time, it could have definitely been avoided on both sides of the situation.
And by the way, even though you're a public employee, you still have the right to not have your personal identity revealed.
Yeah, they were saying that any government employee has to give you their name. I was like, I don't think so.
No,
I think an officer of the
law
yes,
has to. And a badge. That's right. All right. But I think you should talk to a local attorney and find out if you got a lawsuit against them for having your face because you didn't get permission for them to record your face.
Well, that's a touchy situation because anytime you're in a public location.
We should have got Sydney on tonight.
Well, she can't talk about it.
Nah, that's right, because
it's a case.
Doggone it!
So we'll have to get her on. When it's all settled and said and done.
Stay tuned. That'll come up. We'll make that an episode.
Hey, as a matter of fact, I wanted to get Brett Guthrie on here tonight, but he's flying back right now.
Yeah.
From DC, I think. So
what's going on tomorrow is Ukrainian ambassador will be in town at University of Louisville tomorrow with Mitch McConnell, and there's a few seats left for that event that's going on that you can actually go.
I didn't know that was coming. That would be an interesting thing to see.
It's at University of Louisville. You got to call. You can do a Google search. It'll show up. But he's going to be in Louisville at the University of Louisville with the U.S. ambassador.
University of Louisville way too often.
I know, because you're a UK guy.
That's right.
But he will be there with the U.S. ambassador from Ukraine, and talk about that complex environment. See, America, we're not. The news series and cycle has left Ukraine. It is all focused on Jerusalem, which is scary in itself. I could talk about that subject for a week, but we've got a governor's race to win. But our world could change by one decision in the Middle East right now, today.
I mean, I do like. I will say this, and this is maybe a show for 2 weeks from now when we
absolutely
kind of catch everything up. But
I
do appreciate the fact that we have put assets in the region, to make sure that we are supporting. And the Gerald R. Ford attack group is there from the Navy. I believe they're taking some. I don't know if they're.
Well, the interesting complexity of that,
there's going to be some troops coming from Fort Liberty.
Turkey has also moved a warship into the area to protect the Palestinians. So this is very complicated.
Yeah.
And China is supporting Iran and all of these groups that the Iran backs to start these little skirmishes. And so this is going to be a very complicated delicate situation.
I think what we're seeing is, and this is just a theory, right? This is just my theory.
Go ahead.
We're seeing China pushing Iran to start things in the Middle East so that they can take more steps towards taking Taiwan.
I don't necessarily agree that they'll make the move to Taiwan.
I don't think it's a move yet. I think that it's
what they would do,
incremental steps that they're trying to work towards.
But what they would do is get Jerusalem to trigger an all-out war between our allies, Saudi and everybody else. And so if we are supporting Jerusalem and say our Saudi allies and our Turkish allies and all them go to war against Jerusalem, and we're involved in that. We've just complicated NATO agreements, which means that we're in a war, which means that China's in war with us and everybody else, and it gives everybody the green light to start a world war. That's the difficulty. Not to mention the fact
that's true.
Not to mention the fact that Ukraine.
I mean, that's what World War I started over.
Yeah.
It was all about treaties.
Yep.
One man gets killed, and it triggers treaties and things all over the place.
That's exactly right. And so what you then have is the Middle East is the melting pot of all globalism. Now, we already know that the dollar is being converted, or the yen is being converted in Iran, and China's interest in moving their denomination to be the global leader in
yuan?
in finance. The yuan.
Yeah. The Chinese yuan.
The Chinese yuan to be.
So we haven't really talked about the yen in a long time.
Yeah, sorry.
Since the 80s, probably.
The yuan, but sorry. Bad production here. But the point is there's a lot of interest in China manipulating that, because that creates more spread support.
Well, I mean, they borrow this money that they're giving away to in supporting that region is borrowed money. They keep borrowing money, and they don't really have they're hurting for how they're going to pay that back. They're buying up our debt.
We borrowed from them.
We borrow from them, and then we pay them back, and they take that money, but they've borrowed like way more than we have.
Moreover, where is about 60 to 70% of manufacturing in America? Where does that occur?
It is not. I mean, you would think it's mostly in China, but it's mostly because of the small handheld electronics. But there's Malaysia and
how about our medicines?
Medicines. There's components from China, but not all of them are actually manufactured in China.
No, they're not. But that would be a crippling effect of a fallout of war.
Yeah, it would, but it wouldn't. I wouldn't call it crippling, because I mean, look back at World War II. When World War II occurred, the American people stepped up, and manufacturing cranked up.
We showed that with COVID. We had American manufacturing step up, but
and we will do it again, and we would do that again. It's not like people don't believe in America. They just think that they want America. There's a giant group of people who want America to take care of them. Well, you'd be surprised when America is not going to be there to take care of them, how much they'll stand up for it. To make sure it's there, so they can go back to complaining about it later. So I think that I really think that people will, the American ingenuity will step up and be able to do it. Now the question is can we do it in time? What type of weaponry or what type of war are we talking about? So
it's an interesting article I read this week. Warren Buffett's fix for the deficit in the United States. Did you catch that article by any chance?
I didn't.
So I'm just really quick. He just said, I could fix the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that anytime there's a deficit of more than 3%, while the sitting members of Congress then they would be ineligible for from the hold on. It's more than 3% of deficit of the gross domestic product in the nation. Then the sitting congressmen and senators would be ineligible for re-election.
All of them.
All of them. That would fix the budget.
That would create turmoil.
Yeah, but.
That would be turmoil.
They're the ones spending our money. So why?
I mean, I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, because he thinks that they'll never raise the budget. They'll never raise the debt limit.
Right.
That's
you
what he
spend
thinks.
what you have. You don't overspend. But he's the wealthiest investor in the world.
So if they raise it more than 3% of GDP, right? So and then they go back. So they raise it 2.9. Right. That's what they would do. They would raise it 2.9.
Sure.
Then next year they do it 2.9.
Yeah, but
it would be incremental. It would slow down the growth, but it's still going to grow. They're still going to grow it.
You could, but that's fine. But you don't ever spend more than you have.
I think that one thing you have to look at is how do you calculate GDP? If all of our manufacturing is overseas.
Well, that means you're going to work.
See, they took us off
work to put more gross domestic product in the United States as a congressman.
Yeah,
bring more jobs to the people in the United States.
What does it used to be? It used to be it used to not be called GDP, or maybe it was GDP and it was called something else at one time. But because that was one of the things that it's how we calculate things, and how it's like the language that we use in these things is a very, very important, because if we're talking about GDP, or if we're talking about because we're not talking about manufacturing, right? Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: manufacturing is how you build.
I got it. Here's the formula. Go ahead.
Manufacturing is how you build value into your workforce, into your economy. We are not manufacturing in the United States, which means that we are automatically sending money to other countries to make our goods. Then we come back, and our domestic product is based on us exchanging monies within our borders for those goods that we had manufactured somewhere else. But if we don't have them manufactured over there, there's nothing for us to sell. It all falls apart. So, and then they're building up funds on their side, while ours just keeps going up, and we're not getting any more value for our dollar.
What?
Our dollars just prices just keep going up and up and up. I mean, a cell phone now is $1,200, $1,400. There's about $200 worth of electronics in that thing, right? And it's manufactured by probably in Shenzhen, China. I think that's probably one of the most the Shanghai area, and they put all that manufacturing over there, but they don't have.
Are you ready for this?
Of course, Taiwan has all the. I don't know how Taiwan got all the chip manufacturing when all the chip manufacturers were in Texas and California.
Yeah, I remember Texas Instruments for years.
Yeah, Intel is putting their giant factory in New Albany, Ohio, which is going to be huge. It's like $20 billion or something like that's going to be invested up there.
Yeah, it's two approaches to get the GDP formula. One is the expenditure approach, and one is the income approach. And then there are, what are the types of GDP? You've got the nominal GDP, which is the total value of goods and services produced at a current market prices. And then the real GDP is a more accurate measure of the sum of all goods and services produced at constant prices. And then there is the actual gross domestic product, which is real-time measurement of all outputs at any interval or any given time. And then there's the potential GDP. That's like an estimate. Ideal economic condition with 100% employment across sectors. We have never seen that. So, but the first one is expenditure approach, and that is the gross domestic product is equal to consumption or all private consumer spending within a country's economy, including durable goods, non-durable goods, and services, plus the total government expenditures, including salaries of government employees, road construction, repair public schools, and military expenditure, plus some of a country's investments spent on capital equipment, inventories, and housing, plus the last and final effort, which is net exports or a country's total exports less total imports. So you add those four things together, and you get the expenditure approach of gross domestic product. The other approach is income approach. And that is the gross domestic product formula that takes the total income generated by the goods and services produced. And so it doesn't say whether it was produced in the country. It just says gross domestic products, goods and services produced. So to your point, where parts are brought in here and then they're added to parts from here and then it produces a part, right? So it is actually the gross domestic product, which is equal to the total national income plus sales taxes plus depreciation and plus net foreign factor income, which is, and foreign factor income is the difference between the total income that a country's citizens and companies generate in foreign countries versus the total income foreign citizens and companies generate in the domestic country. So it's an interesting quandary of how you get to it, but it's a big math problem. They've got a solution for it. But the problem is we're not producing a lot.
We're not manufacturing things.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, labor in the United States is the highest anywhere in the world for the most part. You know, if you want to build something, you want to manufacture something in the United States, it costs you more here than anywhere else on the planet, minus maybe a couple of very small, rich countries that are out there. But the United States is one of the highest costs of manufacturing because of the labor numbers, and not to mention all the regulations and things that go into moving product and making sure materials are in the right place. We have done this to complicate our we have complicated our economy to such a point that it's not as flexible. It still keeps us, one of the largest economy in the world, and we're still quite a bit ahead of China in that regard. And China's population is taking a giant hit right now, and so their economy is probably going to shrink, just because they just don't have the people to support the same level. And they've done that to themselves because they have, they've done their, that one child rule and things. So we can talk about that. But, the economy is, I hate the fact that we don't manufacture so much here, but we have to take both sides of that equation. Everybody wants to measure their worth by what they get paid. And if you measure your worth by what you get paid, then you want a higher and higher paycheck. Well, in reality, what you really want to do is get more for your dollar. You want your money. You want to be able to buy more. So buying power is more important to any individual than the amount of dollars that they get. Because the more money you make, the more money that's in the economy, the less you get for that money. Because everybody's competing for the same goods. Yeah. And people will always be willing to pay a little bit more because I want that. And there's only so much to go around. So people, people will, I don't know what you were making.
You're good. Keep going.
The crossover or whatever.
I was going to say, speaking of the economy.
Okay.
We had a debate last night. Yeah. How do you think it went?
From all indications, people I've talked to today, they feel that, I've heard from people, all over the place, and they felt like Daniel Cameron won that debate, that he stood up for his values, he stood up for Republican values, but at the same time, he made a good case for, why the manufacturing jobs are not coming to Kentucky because Andy Beshear is our governor,
our Lord and Savior for the battery plants
King
of
Andy.
all the world.
And we're back to King Andy again because Andy Beshear is not out selling Kentucky to manufacturers and things. But Kentucky, what it is that Kentucky has developed a solid economy. We have reduced taxes on manufacturing. We've reduced taxes on. I still think we need to eliminate the. If you want to take it another step further, I think we need to still make sure that we don't have any semblance of a inventory tax. I think those are some of the things that I talked to some folks in Texas that inventory tax is a big deal in Texas, but there's no income tax, so it kind of balances out somewhat. And I guess if there's no income tax, then maybe paying a little bit more for inventory is not a big deal. But to talk to a company who's got $10 million worth of equipment sitting in Texas, they want to move it out before the end of the year so they don't have to pay taxes on it. That type of thing, right? Yeah. So it's it's just a matter of So in that debate last night, I believe that he made a good case for, he's not going to be suing the legislature. He's going to work with the legislature. He's going to take ideas to the legislature to try to get them passed. Andy Beshear doesn't even talk to the legislature. He might talk to a couple of Democrats. He hasn't talked to them
the entire time.
But he has not come and visited with them. He's not sat down with any of the leadership.
There's nothing he's instituted for legislation.
He figures, when they pass something and I veto it, they're going to overturn it, and then I'm going to sue about it, and then I'm going to lose, and it's still going to be there, which is what's happening all across. So I mean, when you talk about abortion, people want to. I know we're going to go back to abortion for a second, but abortion is, it's a big deal to some folks, and it's like, listen, the Kentucky legislature represents the people of Kentucky. And the people of Kentucky have said they, by majority, have said that they do not want to allow just free and open abortions, and they definitely don't want to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these lies going around on the radio and TV ads saying that, Daniel Cameron is taking people's
medical records.
Take those people, are trying to subpoena people's medical records so they can find out if they went out of town, out of state to get an abortion.
I got a letter in the mail about that from the Kentucky Democratic Party out of Frankfort.
Yeah, and that's just not true.
It's misinformation.
It's total misinformation. It's disinformation. It's communist disinformation is what we're reading in that. And what it is they're hoping that you'll just won't know the difference. And
Now,
what they're doing is playing on this because Andy
hold
Bashir
on.
did send the KSP to try to take people's license plate numbers.
Yeah.
That happened. The KSP admitted that they did that because they were under his order. Daniel Cameron is not. How is he subpoenaing anybody's medical records?
So
it's a HIPAA problem. It's a HIPAA issue.
I went and looked up the references where they were coming from. That they put on the. They said, look at this and look at this article, but you got to read the whole article, and then you got to.
But they quote articles and papers. They don't go.
They quote the portion that you think you want to hear. It's just like CNN. They'll clip the front out and take out all the stuff you didn't see, and only the clip that makes it convincing that they're just opposed. This is typical. Meander. This is like psychological operations. But if you go and look, here's what it really comes down to. Okay, Kentucky gives a mom, right, who's receiving benefits from the state.
Yes.
To take care of the children that she has, or that he has, or whatever, right? But in this case, it involves a woman. You're not going to be able to go across the state, right, and go get an abortion and then try to use medical benefits that were provided by the state of Kentucky so that you can go and get rid of a baby. That would kind of violate the reason why we're protecting the abortion.
It's because he's saying because what it is they're trying to use Kentucky Medicaid to pay for an abortion in Indiana or wherever.
That would
wherever
be
it's
an
allowed.
example where we use Kentucky dollars to pay for an abortion. And in that situation, I don't necessarily think that that's wrong, because then what the state has done.
You mean it's wrong? And it's not wrong.
The state has violated his own laws by
That's right.
Using taxpayer money to pay for an abortion. So it's misexplained. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're trying to. Well, it's just it's a typical Democrat scheme. I had this conversation with a couple of other Republicans this week about this kind of stuff, and it's like.
But does that make sense?
It makes total sense that why. I mean, because you're talking about case by case, because
absolutely
you're not trying to keep them from going to having an abortion.
No,
but
you're going to use your own money, not Kentucky money.
Yeah, you're not going to pay. Medicaid's not going to pay for that.
That's right.
Right, because it's illegal. It's an illegal act in Kentucky, and it's not covered by our Medicaid.
That's right.
So, but it is. But I mean, again, it's exactly what you always hear. The Democrats are using the Democratic Party uses a they take things, twist it. It's just like what Soviet Russia did. What the Soviets did in Russia. When they took it over. They had this basically a Ministry of Truth type of thing, where it's like, and then they would just put whatever they wanted to put out. They still do it to this day. The Russian people don't know what's really going on in Ukraine. I don't even know if we know what's really going on in Ukraine or not. Everything we hear back and forth. What I know is this. I know Daniel Cameron. I know he's not trying to get into your medical records to see if you're going to go out of state to see if you're going to have an abortion. But from an insurance standpoint, insurance will not pay for that because we've said that that's illegal in Kentucky, and we're not going to pay for it. We're not going to use this. If you want to have an abortion, go have an abortion. Pay for it.
Right.
Do whatever it is. Apply in that state. More than likely, that state has. And that state has abortion, has rules for if they're allowing abortions. They've got methods for you to pay for it because that's what their people want to be able to do. I mean, my goodness, California was talking about giving people flights to California. When Roe versus Wade first dropped, they were saying, we'll come over here to California, we'll give you an abortion. Right. And it's like, you know what, Kentucky's not going to. I mean, I'm going to pray against that because I don't think that's the right thing, but. I'm not going to tell California how to live. They can live in whatever sin they want to live. I'm not going to tell a transgender person not to be transgender in their house, right? I'm just going to ask them not to try to force it down my kids' throats or my grandkids' throats. That's the thing. It's like I draw the line when it starts affecting myself and it affects my family. And I don't want to pay for an abortion. I don't want my tax money to go for any abortions. So, so I agree with the fact that we're not, that our insurance is saying whether or not they can pay for an abortion. I don't know why your insurance, every insurance company that you know of, questions every time you get any kind of procedure. That's not a violation. You want a law.
That's right. And typically, when you do a procedure or something like that, you have your primary care and then you have your secondary care. So if you have Medicaid, Medicare, sometimes it may be the secondary over your primary. So it would be those situations where. But anyway, it's so misexplained. It's not even funny. The intent of where that came from is being utilized in the wrong manner. And is using as misinformation to identify specific, very minor individual cases in light of the greater problem. So, but, hey, we got an election coming up.
That's right.
It's coming up next week. It starts on the second, third, and fourth.
Second, third, and fourth. You can vote at the Meade County Fairgrounds. That's unexcused. Early voting.
All day. No lines.
We used to go back into this back and forth about whether you call it early voting or unexcused absentee. It's early voting, right? So you can early vote at the fairgrounds. Any precinct can go to the fairgrounds and vote. And I think it's open from 8 to 4 or 8 to... I think it's 8 to 4, something like that.
Right.
Read the Meade Truth newspaper that came out, the Times and everything.
Got another one coming out?
Yep, there'll be another one coming out. We're shooting for next week. It'll be out, should be in your mailbox Thursday, Friday next week, just in time for you to go vote. But we are encouraging all of the Republicans to go out and vote early. Go ahead and vote on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Take advantage of the no lines. If you are traditionalist and you want to vote on the election day, by all means do so. But don't just do it just to spite. Take advantage of it. The rules change the rules for these things. The laws change all the time, and eventually we flow into it. There's no reason for us not to take advantage just because we didn't like the change in the first place. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing. There's no conspiracy around it. It doesn't matter whether you vote on Thursday.
Democrats want you to show up on voter registration day or voter day, which is the last day you can vote, because the lines are so long and you won't get in time. And your vote won't be heard.
Well, I mean, in the state of Kentucky, if you are in line at 6 p.m.,
I got it.
Then you will vote.
I got it.
The poll will not close until the last person. Now, what they do is the sheriff.
We'll stand at the last person.
The sheriff will go to at 6 p.m. They will stand at the last person, and they will turn people away and say you had to be in line before 6 p.m.
That's right.
And
I've got a good friend that's a sheriff this time. He's a Democrat, but it's okay. But he's playing a sheriff role in one of the counties coming up.
My son's my son's done it. My wife is she has been doing polls for. I don't know. It's been several years.
I don't know who the sheriff is in this county for this one, but
for
For the polls.
For the polls. I mean, there's one in every precinct. So
that's right.
So it's the high school. You know, the high school, you can still vote on November 7th. Mm-hmm. You can vote. Any precinct can go to the high school and vote.
Yep.
Other than the high school on November 7th, the other precincts are basically broke down by your precinct. So only certain precincts can vote in certain locations. So
Akron,
like Akron votes in Akron, Flaherty votes in Flaherty, but there's a couple of others out there that are that are in those locations. Painville and stuff are out there, and Painville Elementary and such.
Another important date you need to put on your calendar is October 30th. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman will be going up against Daniel Cameron's which is Robbie Mills.
I want to apologize. I did misspell Robbie's name.
That's all right. Senator Robbie Mills is going head to head with Jacqueline Coleman. As you know, Jacqueline Coleman comes from the education realm, while Senator Robbie Mills has been actively involved in legislation to that's dealt with.
He's got a record.
Yeah,
he's got a record that you can look up.
Phenomenal record, and he's actually been dealing with the legislation revolving around trying to pay for teachers and budgets and everything else, whereas they're all sitting atop their palace, king and queen, and telling teachers a bill of goods.
Well, I mean, they are relying on JCPS and the teachers union up there to really work for them, and because they feel like it's. They have to have that vote. They have to have that, even though it's the Republicans who have been funding the pensions and things like that. The Democrats didn't for years.
I know it.
They used that. They just kept taking that money into the general fund and then spending it and using it. And a lot of times we found out later on that that the monies were going to in cronyism and to certain contracts and things,
right?
And then now the teachers weren't the teachers retirements weren't funded, not just the teachers but state employees in general weren't funded. But let me go through this real quick. So early voting November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Home and Garden Building at the fairgrounds, and that will be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Election day November 7th, all precincts can vote at the Meade County High School. That's at 938 Old State Road, and that's from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Muldrow Precinct can vote at Muldrow City Hall, and that's at 202 Wendell Street in Muldrow, Kentucky. Flaherty Elementary will have precincts A102, C101, C102, C103, and E103. And sorry, I don't have those exact breakdowns. I think A102 is Grayhampton, and C101s, 102, and 103 are all district. They are all District 3 precincts, and then E103. I'm trying to remember which one that is. I don't know if it's. I can't remember what E103 is exactly. So. Akron Elementary will be the E101, 102, and F105 precincts, and then Painville Elementary School will have precincts F101, F102, and F103. Everyone else, if your number wasn't called there, if your precinct number wasn't called there, you will be voting at the high school, and on election day. But again, vote early. Stop by the fairgrounds on your way home from work one day, or while you're up in town. Maybe you're going grocery shopping or something. Stop in and go ahead and vote on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there at the Farm and Garden Building.
I got one more thing for us
to
cut into a little quick commercial play for the old Daniel Cameron. Just if you haven't heard him, last week we had him on in town for a little thing, so just listen up.
Hey guys, this is Daniel Cameron. I'm excited about the November 7th election, and I'm counting on you guys to get to the polls. If you care about good quality schools, making sure that they get back to the basics of reading, writing, and math, and that they aren't incubators for liberal and progressive ideas, then you will get out on November 7th. We can change this Commonwealth. We can make sure that the far left indoctrination is removed from our schools. And we can make sure that we support our teachers. Look, I'm married to a school teacher. My mother retired as a public educator, and my sister-in-law teaches right now. So education is critically important to us. We can have a world-class education system. We can protect the unborn. We can make sure to preserve our coal industry and our Second Amendment rights. And we can make sure that our churches and our small businesses are never shut down again. Please vote for Daniel Cameron on November 7th. I am counting on this county and in this region to get us across the finish line in first place. God bless you and God bless Kentucky.
Paid for by the Republican Party. Oh, this doesn't cost anything. This is free.
But it's still paid for by us. So
Yeah, paid for by the Republican Party.
paid for by the Meade County Republican Party.
That's right. Anyway, so hey, I wanted to get that out before we close it out, Mark, tonight. Take us home.
So guys, we are just what 9-10 days I think from the election. Less than a week, really. Actually, 1 week from today, you can start voting. So get out there and vote. Call a friend, call a neighbor. Make sure they're going to go out and vote. The best thing you can do is to make sure that your voice is heard by going out and voting, and then encourage the people around you to go vote as well. So, that's all I have for this week.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Have a good night.